Greetings everyone. My name is Saravanan and today I am presenting our paper on cost-based intervention for combating fake news. This is joint work with Michael Simpson and Lux Lakshmanan from University of British Columbia. Social media websites are a valuable resource for users to stay in touch and share content. For many users, social media is also the major source of their daily news. Because of this, fake news is widespread and users are drowning in fake news. There has been a lot of work on combating fake news. However, most of those work are focused on deduction. These work try to build a machine learning model to determine if an item is real or fake. There has only been limited amount of work for intervention. These are the actions that can be taken by either the social media website or by some kind of a third party to stop or limit the spread of the fake news. Most of these work make two unrealistic assumptions. First, they assume that you can know the truthiness of an item correctly. Even though machine learning based methods, machine learning based fake news detectors are becoming increasingly accurate, there are many cases where they might make a mistake. They are not yet perfect. Second, most of these prior work on intervention focus on extreme actions such as removing an user account. Most social media websites are often hesitant to take these extreme actions, such as removing an account, as it could cause some potential issues. Popular websites such as Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram are moving towards the so-called soft intervention. In this approach, the social media item could be annotated with some kind of a tag or a label that indicates that the veracity of this item is under dispute. The hope is that this kind of annotation is sufficient to limit the spread of fake news. Most of the prior work on intervention cannot handle this soft intervention or the fact that fake news detectors are fallible. So in this paper, we tackle the problem of cost-aware intervention. Given an item, we want to determine whether to intervene or not to intervene. However, this intervention has to be cost-aware and should be cognizant of the fact that the fake news detector could be fallible. So there are two key dimensions that you need to take into account. The first is whether this item is fake or not. The second is whether the item is a viral item or a non-viral item. Because if an item is viral, you need to be quite careful. Now, not intervening on a fake viral item is quite bad. Similarly, intervening on a real viral item is also bad. So cost-aware intervention is a very, very challenging problem. In our paper, this decision-making is guided by reward function. Okay, so what this reward function tries to do is it tries to limit the spread of fake news while not affecting the spread of real news. So it penalizes when you intervene on real items or when you do not intervene on fake items. It rewards you when you intervene on a fake item. Okay, so this is the reward you get for making the right decision on for a single item. So given this reward function, you can use it to measure the quality of an intervention policy. So given a set of items, you can compute the reward of fixed intervention policy and compare it against the reward you could have gotten with an ideal policy. The difference in these rewards is what you call as a cumulative regret. Okay. So in our paper, our goal is to train an intervention policy that minimizes this cumulative regret. Our system, Solomon, consists of three components. The first component is a truthiness oracle. Given an item, this oracle gives a score between 0 to 1, with a higher value means that the more likely that this item is to be true. The second component is a popularity oracle. It estimates the reach of an item with and without intervention. Even though we call it as an oracle, we do not assume that these oracles are perfect. So it is possible that truthiness oracle could make mistakes, and similarly, it is possible that the popularity oracle could make a mistake. Our final component is an intervention policy. It takes the output of these truthiness and popularity oracle and determines whether to intervene or not to intervene. So a key component, a key contribution of our paper is that it's very modular and extensible. So we have these three components, and it is possible to instantiate each of these components using a very different approach. Even though we have instantiated in a particular way, it is very generic and they have the specified API and they can be replaced with any other instantiation. Okay. And our method is quite diverse in the sense that it can handle both hard intervention and soft intervention. It can handle simple binary decisions such as intervene or not to intervene, or it could allow more complicated actions. Okay, so let's talk about the first component, which is the truthiness oracle. As I said before, this has to return a score between 0 to 1, with a higher value means that the item is more truthful. So you can use any state-of-the-art fake news detection system. In our paper, we used a system called Defend, mainly because it can explain its own detection. It uses content and some social features such as comments to determine the truthiness. The second component is popularity oracle. There has been extensive work on estimating the popularity of an item using different approaches. There are two major approaches. The first is a feature-based approach. So this approach extracts some kind of features from the item, such as content-based or user-based and so on, and use this feature-based information, use these features to estimate the popularity of this item. The second is a point process-based approach. So what these approaches do is that they observe the early part of a cascade, estimate some parameters, and use those parameters to estimate the eventual size of the cascade. So both these approaches have their own pros and cons. On the pro side, feature-based approaches are very easy to estimate, and you can make an estimate instantaneously. However, they are also less accurate. The point process-based methods are quite accurate. On the other hand, you need to wait for some time to get to observe the early part of the cascade, and so that the early part of the cascade is used to extract some parameters. So this means if you use these point process-based approaches, you have to wait for some time before you can estimate these parameters. Such a delay is unacceptable because Solomon wants to make this intervention decision instantaneously. So what we do is a hybrid approach that combines the advantages of both these methods. It can generate both accurate and immediate popularity estimates. So what we do is that we start with a point process based method. Specifically, we take a prior work that uses Hawk's self-exciting point process to estimate the popularity of an item. It is known that this approach gives state-of-the-art result. Okay. So this Hawk's process is basically a self-exciting process in the sense that the occurrence of past events makes the occurrence of future events more probable. Okay. So these prior works, what they do is that they come up with a closed form solution that takes some parameters estimated from the initial part of the cascade and use it to estimate the eventual part of the eventual size of the cascade. Okay. The problem is this formula contains too many parameters, and second, these parameters, in order to estimate these parameters, you have to wait for some time. Right? So what we do is we try to simplify this formula so that we have an alternate formula that involves only 4 parameters. Okay, so that's the first thing that we do. We take this complicated formula and try to simplify it so that the eventual popularity can be approximated using a small number of parameters. So there are 3 important parameters: nj, which is the number of shares till time t. The second is a1j, which is the number of shares from the first few shares, and bj is the branching factor of the cascade. So this omega j is kind of a scaling factor that uses to correct this approximation. Okay, so what we do is that we take some of these historical cascades, and for each cascade, I can estimate these 3 parameters, and using the error in these parameters, I can estimate this parameter omega j. Okay. So the way Solomon's popularity oracle works is as follows. We take some historical cascade, we estimate the point process parameters for each of these cascades, and then we train a classifier to predict these point process parameters given the features. Okay, once this classifier is trained, we can use it for prediction of a new item. When a new item comes, first we extract the features, and then using the classifier, we estimate the point process parameters. And once these parameters have been estimated, we plug it into this formula to estimate the eventual popularity. The key idea is that we are able to combine these feature-based approaches and time-based temporal approaches in order to get instantaneous estimates. Okay, so our final component is the intervention policy. We tackle this problem using multi-armed bandits. Specifically, we use this notion called contextual bandits. So in the contextual bandit setting, what happens is that we have a social media item, and this social media item is associated with a context. You can think of it as a bunch of features. Okay, so this context is passed to the intervention policy, and the intervention policy takes a decision based on this context. Once the intervention decision is taken, you get some kind of a implicit feedback based on this decision made. Okay. So there are 2 big problems with directly applying this contextual bandit idea. First is that most of the prior work assumed that the reward is a linear function of the context and try to estimate this relationship. In real world, and especially in our setting, the reward is not a linear function of this context. In fact, it's a very complex nonlinear relationship. The second is that you do not want to deploy this online learning system in production because it might take some time to get trained, and it also might make some mistake. So what we do is that we train this intervention policy in 3 stages. First, we train it on some kind of historical data, and we then fine-tune it using some recent data. And in the production setting, it only does exploitation and no exploration. So the details of this tricky process is given in the paper. Right? So at a high level, the way we do it is given in this slide. Okay? We train a deep learning model to predict the reward given the context. So we know that the relationship between the context and the reward is quite nonlinear. So we use this ability of a deep learning model to model this relationship. Okay, so once we train this relationship, this deep learning model, what we can do is that we can take the activation weights of the last layer and pass this as a context to a linear contextual bandit. And in fact, one can use any algorithm for solving linear contextual bandits to tackle this thing. In our case, we use a straightforward regression-based, greedy approach. Okay, and what we do is that so this process keeps on going, and periodically we retrain the model in an offline setting. Okay, so we conducted a lot of experiments to evaluate Solomon, and we tested it both on offline and online setting. So we did our evaluation using 4 data sets from 3 different domains: politics, entertainment, and health. We also evaluated multiple baselines, such as a learned rule-based method or a cost-sensitive classification, and multiple variants of contextual bandits. So what our experiment showed is that Solomon was able to get very good result compared to a wide variety of baseline, and it also achieved a high amount of reward or a minimum. It also minimized this cumulative reward. And we also did some real-time experiment where we evaluated Solomon in real time over Twitter's COVID stream. Right? We evaluated around like 5 million tweets with around 2,000 English news articles. They were from, again, wide variety of topics. Right? So we, once these interventions are made, we evaluated it using some automated methods, such as Google's fact check claim search API. And we also did a manual method where we randomly sampled some viral and non-viral items. And we had, when we asked 3 volunteers to evaluate the intervention. In both these automated and manual intervention, Solomon got very good accuracy. Okay. So I hope that I have convinced you that cost-based intervention is an important problem, and Solomon used a modular, extensive, or extensible architecture to tackle this problem. If you have more questions, you can either read the paper or feel free to contact us. Thank you.